With us tonight, I'm Lynn Brooks.
And I'm John Huddleston, sitting in tonight for Terry Brewer. Up first tonight, a shakeup in the hunt for an interim superintendent for the Tuscaloosa County Schools.
That's right. One person has dropped out. Two people have been added to the list of candidates. Details now in tonight's top story. According to School Board Attorney Ray Ward, a total of 6 people are now being considered for the position. This comes after Richard Gardner, former superintendent at Sheffield City Schools, withdrew his name from that list of potential candidates. Now, Ward says Dan Butler, former superintendent of Hale County, also Neil Heitch, former Tuscaloosa County superintendent, are now on the list of candidates. They join Vonda Beatty, former superintendent of the Walker County Schools, Carlton Smith, former superintendent of the Vestavia Hills Schools, and Judy Stifel, former superintendent of the Calhoun County School System. Also, Joe Walters, former superintendent in Tuscumbia City Schools. Ward says the school board has an idea of the type of person they want to recruit.
The ideal candidate is somebody who has, of course, experience, has experience in the type system that Tuscaloosa County is, successful experience, if you will, and who is really available for us in not only being full-time, because I think we certainly need a full-time interim, but for the length of time.
Ward says the board will interview interim candidates next Thursday, February 9th. And continuing now our coverage of the Tuscaloosa County Schools, leaders say they are looking at building safe rooms for severe weather. Director of Operations and Construction David Sellers told us April 27th tornadoes and the recent bout of deadly storms have them looking at some new ways to protect the lives of children and their surrounding community. Sellers saying FEMA and the Tuscaloosa County EMA asked him to come up with the 3 top priority schools. They are Holt, Crestmont, and Flatwoods Elementary. FEMA will provide 75% of those funds. Tuscaloosa County will match the other 25%.
Meanwhile, Tuscaloosa is not the only city that is going through the recovery process following a tornado. More than 30% of the city of Joplin, Missouri was damaged or destroyed by an EF5 tornado in May of last year. Like Tuscaloosa, Joplin is still picking up the pieces and trying to rebuild. According to Lynn Onstadt with the city of Joplin, about 80% of the businesses affected by the Joplin tornado are now reopened. Both cities compared notes with each other on what is going well and the lessons that they have learned. Onstadt says that the two communities have a lot in common.
We understand, I guess, much about what you're going through. You know, some communities may not understand, you know, the whole process, that it does take time and it is a slow process, but yet a very worthwhile process to get your citizens involved, and I know Tuscaloosa is doing the same.
And be sure to join us tonight at 6. Find out why the city of Joplin is further along in their rebuilding process and why Tuscaloosa is taking their time coming up with a recovery plan.
You have the opportunity to help make a difference in the lives of people all across our state as part of Alabama Gives Day. The goal, to raise as much money as possible in 24 hours. It's a day of giving to those in need, organized in part by the Alabama Association of Nonprofits. With the click of a mouse, you can make a donation. Today, several nonprofit groups set up at Tuscaloosa's Midtown Village with information on how your donations can help.
And a lot of nonprofits around Tuscaloosa County got together. We decided that we would put a united front out there, come out to Midtown so that everybody can see us, get information about what we do, and it's just an awesome way to reach the people that live in this state.
Alabama Gives Day is also sponsored by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and the Razoo Foundation. The deadline to donate, tonight, midnight. Go to WVUATV.com under numbers and links, or just give them a call, 1-888-466-4777.
Well, if you like country music, pay attention. A country music legend is headed to T-Town. Merle Haggard is headed to the amphitheater. According to the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater's Facebook page, Haggard is set to hit the stage on August 11th. His career has brought him many awards, including Academy of Country Music Top Male Vocalist, Album of the Year, and Entertainer of the Year. No word yet on when tickets will go on sale.
An update now on the dozens of animals rescued from a South Alabama animal shelter Donations are pouring in from all across the U.S., helping with their recovery. We want to tell you now, some of this video might disturb you. As we've reported, about 100 cats, dogs, and other animals were found in a Summerdale shelter. Police say they'd been left without food or water for more than a week. Officials say many of the animals are now getting care at several shelters, also veterinarian offices around Baldwin County. If you'd like to make a donation and help these animals, you can make checks or other gifts payable to the Baldwin County Humane Society, also known as BARC, BARC with a C, P.O. Box 206, Fairhope, Alabama, 36533. The nation's military families are talking about a proposal to end U.S. fighting in Afghanistan.
Defense Secretary Leon Panetta says he wants to speed up the timetable to make that happen. Nanette Sosa reports.
The U.S. military and NATO want to end their combat mission in Afghanistan a year ahead of schedule. The Obama administration had set a deadline of 2014 to end the fighting. But Defense Secretary Leon Panetta says he hopes the mission will shift to a training and advisory role in 2013. President Obama painted an optimistic picture of U.S. progress in Afghanistan during his State of the Union address last month.
The Taliban's momentum has been broken, and some troops in Afghanistan have begun to come home.
But a leaked NATO report has raised concerns about what will happen in Afghanistan once coalition troops pull out. The report suggests the Taliban are confident they'll be ready to take over. NATO is downplaying the significance of the report. But Republican presidential hopeful Mitt Romney slammed Defense Secretary Panetta for publicly revealing U.S. plans to end the combat mission early.
He announced that so the Taliban hears it, the Pakistanis hear it, the Afghan leaders hear it. Why in the world do you go to the people that you're fighting with and tell them the day you're pulling out your troops? It makes absolutely no sense.
U.S. officials say no plans for the mission in Afghanistan will be final until a NATO meeting in May. I'm Nanette Sosa reporting.
The U.S. has been fighting in Afghanistan for more than 10 years now, since just after the September 11th terror attacks. Panetta told reporters his goal is to end the mission as early as mid-2013. Lynn?
Leaders on Capitol Hill gathered for prayer today as part of the National Prayer Breakfast. Thousands were at the Washington Hilton this morning, including President Obama. During his speech, the president shared how his Christian faith influences his economic policies, including his call for the wealthy to pay more in taxes and his health care overhaul. Also in attendance, former Heisman Trophy winner Robert Griffin III, who brought a little laughter to today's event.
To the president, if you ever get, a little tired of running the country or anything like that, a little bored, I'd love to play you in basketball. It'd be a friendly competition because I wouldn't want anyone to feel like I was trying to hurt you or anything. So I wouldn't dunk on you at all. But this has been a really long breakfast and the longest I've ever been a part of.
And to be exact, the National Prayer Breakfast has been an annual Washington tradition for 60 years.
And coming up in home team weather, more showers and storms are likely by your weekend. We're dry now, but that likely changes in the next 24 hours. What about the rest of the forecast? And we'll talk temperatures. Your weather forecast is after the break.
And a new study says you're eating more sugar than you might think. We'll show you exactly where that sugar is coming from.
And Nick Saban is not a big fan of the new rule that limits the number of football players the school can sign, but he says Alabama will manage just fine. Gary Harris will have that story later on in Alabama's Home Team Sports.